Paul and Helen, what was it like to do the show again last night? Was it strange, familiar? Are they still in the apartment? What?
We have the same apartment. We rebuilt it, but we've redecorated because it would be sad if these people have bought nothing new in 20 years. And it was the tricky thing was getting it to look familiar enough, but also new enough that you enjoyed it. The weirdest thing we were both saying, it felt weird that it didn't feel more weird. It felt like, well, this is what we do. We've been 20 years, and it felt like a weekend had passed.
Wow. Are you shooting in front of a live audience?
We did and we are.
Wow.
That's the thing.
People can come and watch?
People could come and watch.
Not these people, but others.
All right, what was it like last night? Helen, you were directing.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah. And she's really smart and good, if I may say. We were very lucky to have her directing this.
I knew that something, and I said to both of these people, something will be lost, but something will be gained. In other words, I won't be there to watch everything on the monitor. You'll have, hopefully, I'll be 200%, 100% with you, 100% there, but probably we're all only 100% at best. But what was gained, I think, was a probably freakish attention to detail and a deep, deep knowing of the show and learning what's important to Peter. And I just feel I can say knowing what's important to Paul in this show. I could, represent fiercely as the director those things. So I'm glad I did it. And Betsy Thomas is doing our next 3 shows, and the night before we shot, I had a dream about her where, she lived in a palace, and she was the queen. I'm very ready to hand the show over to our incredible list of directors coming up.
One of the things we feel really, really lucky that we were able to get Peter as our head writer and executive producer, because he's great and smart, but also wildly collaborative. And it's kind of, we never really talked about this, but he's got, 2 partners here who have a lot of opinions and also who did the show. So it's an interesting collaboration. And we knew for the first show, to bring in somebody who hasn't directed it with the 2 of us going, no, we don't do that. We do that.
Yes, that would have been the extra annoying part.
Yes.
We would have been really annoying.
So we limited the annoyance.
Yes. And I will say, not to be whatever, but how you run a writer's room, like Peter could run a master class in that, in my opinion. I was studying to poach anything I could poach.
All of this is just motivated by fear.
It is. Please don't let us suck.
No.
That's my basic.
Not quite that. You guys have made over 100 episodes of this show, and obviously you're coming back. I'm the new person here, so if it all goes south, it's me.
Yeah.
Everyone's just going to go, it's him, that guy's
Yeah, we've been practicing.
Okay, Peter, tell them when we started talking about this.
I'm going to say it's in about 2 months, it will be 3 years.
Oh, gosh. Oh, I had no idea.
And a lot of stuff happened along the way that made it seem that it was not going to happen.
Yeah, there were all sorts of all his lost moments and
they kept happening.
So, yeah. So
the upside of how long it took is that I think things that are good cook a long time. We had ideas in the beginning that, maybe my idea, that we were going to start on the streets of New York and really get to see us in the real place, and that seemed exciting.
We were going to be coming back after a little separation, because in the finale, we had shown
they're separated.
Apart,
we all went, ooh!
Apart. We said, let's start apart.
Over time, and partly from watching, I will say, the Will and Grace reboot, I was like, we just have to get good writing. We just have to have good writing and good acting. Let's just not, at the end of the day, that's it. And if there's something beautiful, I think, about the 4-camera form, I was raised on I Love Lucy. It was my babysitter.
And we're shooting on that stage, on the I Love Lucy stage.
And I remember my mother going, "You're just wasting your time watching some sitcom about a married couple in New York." I was like, well, it worked out.
And you were a child on Mary Tyler Moore,
I was a child on Mary Tyler, whatever, 1 episode. But what was my point?
Your point,
darling.
The beauty
the beauty of multicam. So I have when this form doesn't work, it's really weird and awkward, but when it does, my friend Carrie Leiser wrote The New Adventures of Old Christine. That was a time where I saw her. I thought that form just flourished.
Good show.
Doing that. But I think that is why it is worth keeping alive, because there is no cool thing to cut to or building that blows up. Or it is writing and acting and directing to facilitate those 2 things.
do you remember, you probably might not remember the pilot, which we did in '92. I had always thought I had conceived the show. You do. I conceived the show as a single camera, and I never wanted to really do multicam. And then they sort of said, "Well, listen, we're going to shoot it on Friday night regular, and then Saturday we'll come in and we'll shoot a single camera." Then about Saturday afternoon we go, "Well, that's bullshit. I don't know
Well,
what we're doing."
you actually had it in your deal.
I did.
Yes. Or at least that's what you told me.
He lies like it's nothing.
You had it in your deal that we would shoot the whole show and have it in the can, and then we would do it in front of the audience.
I think you had an allergy to when
Well,
this form is.
I had done
not
it
good.
and didn't love it. My
really?
particular
Because
expression.
you had
Yes,
done
I did a show that was not. I didn't love the show, but I did love the creative and the collaborative part. But so I always, whenever I write, I always think of it as like single
You actually said
camera.
that you were afraid that if there was an audience there, your instincts as a performer, you would pander to them.
Yeah,
and then you got over that.
Yeah, and you were sort of instrumental in sort of helping me find that you don't have to really throw everything out the window, and also working with Helen, it's like, oh, it can hold and just not be jokey, and it's going to be really real because she is so real. You know, I always tell the story when, before Helen had signed on to do the pilot, and she read the script and was really, and you didn't want to do television for anything. And she said, well, I really like this script. And I said, well, come over to the house and let's talk about it. And she came over to my house and said, let's just read it. And there's a scene in the kitchen, and it says she's doing the dishes, and Helen's getting up, and she's at my sink cleaning the dishes, and she's talking over her shoulder. It was so good, I didn't realize she was doing the script, that I actually said, we have a woman who comes in, you don't have to.
I know that when you guys were doing the original series, to do that flash forward thing was never assuming there would be such a thing as a reboot.
No, it was actually preventative. No, that's not true. No, I mean, we actually did it on purpose. We said, we'll answer any. If people want to know what happens to them later, we'll
Here's
show you.
what happened.
Don't call us at home.
So
Cable had barely been invented at
Yes.
that time.
Yeah.
So who was thinking about
Yeah, it was a
streaming?
test
Walk
pattern
20 miles in the
at the
snow
time,
for
yeah.
a bee scene.
I just think I think we all made a decision. I don't make any decisions without these guys, but we all made a decision that, okay, yes, we're not exactly sure when some of that is going to happen. It could be in the future, what you saw back then. It could be in the future. We may be sliding in a few years earlier than that. So it's conceivable that all of that stuff still could happen.
I
But
directed that one, and there's a couple things that maybe we're stepping on, but pretty much
Yeah.
you could
We try to
slide
honor it.
3/4 of the way in, and it's before she's making her movie at NYU, and after. I mean, it basically works.
Because we said if in fact this couple broke up for a little while or separated for a little while, where are they now? Did this happen yet? I don't think we ever answered that. We probably did. Took some little time off and came back, but it was. We wanted to honor that, and for people who were really following the show, we wanted to honor that, but we also didn't want to constrict ourselves and twist ourselves in a circle just into a pretzel just because somebody's going to notice that was actually a Tuesday and not a Friday.
Well.